Hey folks, this is part 2 in our series on insomnia and sleep disorders. In the previous episode, we talked about circadian rhythms, naps, and excess caffeine. Today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how to set the stage for setting up a good night's sleep and what kind of environment you should have in your room. Stay with me now. All right, thanks for staying with me. So we talked about in the previous episode those circadian rhythms and why naps can be bad, different things about how much caffeine is too much caffeine, and why you probably shouldn't have caffeine in the afternoon. Check that video out. We'll make sure we put a link in the description down there below. I started to work on this a little bit and outline how this series was going to go. So just to kind of recap, in part of my work as a therapist, one of the things I'm constantly assessing, if you were one of my patients, you would constantly hear me be asking you questions about how's your sleep cycle going? How many hours are you getting? Are you having nightmares? Are you having any problems? The reason I'm so focused on sleep with my patients is sleep plays a major role in the management of your moods and your thoughts. It's really critical. If we don't get that right, it's going to be hard to regulate all the other things that we try to do in therapy. So check out that video on circadian rhythms, but let me give you a quick outline here of how I think this series is going to go. Subject to change based on how we do this, because when you're trying to figure out and fix a problem with someone's sleep, it's so complex. There's so many issues we have to cover. There's so many ways that this can go wrong that I just can't cover this in one 10-minute video. This is going to take multiple videos to really go through the full gamut of what I would typically talk about with one of my patients. So let me give you a quick outline here of how this is going to go. So we talked about circadian rhythms. We talked about naps, caffeine. Today I'm going to talk to you about your routine before bed, how to set a good stage so that you're giving yourself the best chance to get a good night's sleep. And we're going to talk about like what that should look like. How do you want to set the environment for sleep? That's what we're going to do today. But in future videos, we're going to talk about thoughts and anxiety and racing thoughts. This is one of the more common things that I hear about, like, why are you not sleeping? Tell me what's going on. People say, well, I'm just laying there. My mind is racing. I've got these anxious thoughts going through my mind. That's going to probably be in part 3. Part 4, I think it's going to be in part 4 again. This is subject to change. I'm probably going to try to talk to you about some of the more common sleep disorders like sleepwalking, sleep talking, and nightmares. Then this is where I'm not sure of how I'm going to do the order of this. I think part 5, I'm going to show you what the stages of sleep and the cycles of sleep look like. Okay, that's 2 different things. And to understand why those are so important, why we're trying to get you back on track, and one way that you can track this at home with a very, very simple thing that many of you have at your house already. And then I think we're going to round out with, if this ends up being 6 parts, we'll do another sleep meditation. I do have one that's out there that's in ASMR format. I'll put that in the description below. But I'm going to do another one that's not ASMR format, just a regular guided meditation for sleep. That's probably going to be the last part of this, okay? And then we may do another ASMR one as well. So we're looking at like 6 or 7 different videos here. This is probably going to take us the better part of, because I'm going to release one a week, it's probably going to take us the better part of a month and a half. So let's get on to today's topic. If you're still with me, thank you so much. Don't forget to hit subscribe. If you are having problems with your sleep, please comment down below so I know what kind of things to try to help you address. Okay, that's what we're here for, and that's why I'm doing this, and that's why I'm putting it out for free. If you like my videos, don't forget to also smash that like button. All that does, it doesn't cost you anything, but it helps me get those videos out to other people out there in the YouTube universe that are searching for help on how do I get some help with my sleep. I really appreciate that. Okay, on to today's topic. So, setting the stage. So, one of the things that I would ask you, if you were coming into me for therapy and we were started to talk to you about your sleep cycle, I would say, well, tell me what your routine is before bed, right? So, some of the things that I would ask you to just try, right? And a lot of times we go over this stuff, and again, I'm never going to tell you how to live your life. All I'm going to do is say, These are some things that work for a lot of people. Consider giving them a try for 30 days and see if it doesn't help. So some of the things I would ask you to at least try is, number one, do not watch that news cycle that comes on late, the 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock news cycle. Bad idea, right? The news cycle, all it does is it's doom and gloom. They make their money by creating anxiety and getting you to stay tuned in. It's the last thing I want you to put in your head before you go to sleep. So I want you to think about what is something that you can watch that's pleasant for you, or even better, turn off the electronics an hour before bed and read something, okay? Reading actually is one of the greatest things you can do before bed, because you're starting that eye movement across the pages, which actually has the same kind of effect that you're going to get into in one of your late stages, stage 4 or 5 of sleep, your REM sleep. So especially if you do it in bed, you're kind of training your body and your mind to go into that stage of, okay, it's time to wind down, we're going to sleep. That's thing one. Another thing that you can do is journal, right? And when I get into the video where I talk to you about if you've got racing thoughts at bedtime and anxiety, things like that, I really want you to give some thoughts to journaling, because journaling has a lot of benefits towards getting those thoughts out of your head and onto paper. Okay, so we talked about journaling, we talked about maybe doing a little bit of reading before bed. Another option would be to do a little bit of meditation, right? So I told you I'm going to put down below in the description an ASMR type meditation, and when we finish this series I'll do just a regular guided meditation to kind of walk you through that. You know, just doing some relaxation breathing. I got a video out there on relaxation breathing that's in my mental health playlist. Check that out. Just kind of thinking about doing progressive muscle relaxation through your whole body, from your toes all the way up to the top of your head as you're laying there, right? These are all really good things to do right before sleep. Some people actually like to take a shower or a hot bath before bed. Everybody's different, but the research shows that actually can have a tendency to wake us up. Heating up the body, we're warming up the body, and actually what we want to be doing is cooling down the body before we go to sleep. Again, if you don't think this is going to work for you, I'd say try it. Try it for 30 days, see how it goes, if it improves or not. But again, it's your life, do it the way you want to do. I'm just throwing out, these are some of the things that research says. For the average person, everybody's different, and again, you have to try different things, see what works for you. Okay, so we talked about mental state, getting close to bed, maybe thinking about shutting off the electronics, turn off the phone, turn off the TV, turn off the computer, turn off the video games, do something else. If you can't commit to an hour before bed, how about 15 minutes? How about 15 minutes of just reading right before sleep? How about 15 minutes of progressive muscle relaxation or journaling, something like that, winding down? Again, if you saw my previous video, watch your caffeine in, I'd say, at least 9 or 10 hours before sleep, okay? Believe it or not, I know people tell me, yeah, I drink a cup of coffee, I can go right to sleep. That's probably true for some of us, but it is still stimulating your brain, and it's going to cause some disruptions into your sleep, even if you feel like you're falling asleep. Try it for 30 days, see what happens. All right, so setting the stage. Now, the next thing I want to talk to you about, bear with me here, is what does the room look like? What's your setup in there before, when you're laying in bed and going to sleep? Okay, how do you typically have that set up, right? Do you have the TV on? We're going to stop that, right? I want you to stop it for 30 days, see what happens, because there's something, and you say, well, I've been doing this my whole life. I'm not going to be able to sleep without it. I want you to try something different. So get yourself a fan or a white noise machine, right? And this is just my little, you've seen this in one of my other videos, my Out XE fan. You can use this, or you can get something, bigger. Get yourself one of those white noise machines, and I'm going to see if the camera will pick up the sound, but that's white noise, okay? And what we're doing with that is we're actually blocking out all the little crickets and frogs and traffic and creaks of the house if you live in an old wooden house. the pets. It's just kind of blocking out a lot of that noise so that you can fall asleep. The reason that's better than TV is actually designed so that the sound goes up and down. During commercials, the sound actually is kind of spiking up a little bit. And even if you are sleeping through that, that activity is getting registered through your senses to your brain, and it's causing you some sleep disruptions, whether you realize it or not. If you absolutely can't do the white noise machine, try talk radio or talk podcast. There's a podcast out there, I think it's called Come Sleep With Me. It's actually, I know it sounds funny, it's actually one of the top rated podcasts in the world, and it's this guy just talking about stories, and they're not stories that would like, oh, I gotta pay attention, I gotta listen. He talks in a very monotone voice. Like, if you ever listen to NPR, how they can just like talk in that monotone voice, that's a better option than TV. And as long as it's keeping that steady pace, right? If you have to listen to music, maybe consider switching to like classical music and at a very low volume, as low as you can possibly get it, okay? How dark can you get the room? The research says that for most people, we want you to get that room as dark as you can possibly stand it, okay? If you've had some trauma and you just can't stand to be in a completely darkened room, or you've got some phobias or whatever, then consider getting a red spectrum nightlight instead of a blue spectrum nightlight. I want to show you something real quick. Let's pause it right here, but you got to stay with me. Okay, so that is called blue light, and that is actually the kind of light that comes off of your tablets, your phone, your computer screen. And this is a problem because the blue light actually stimulates your brain. Okay, and so what I actually recommend is that if you absolutely have to have a nightlight, that you get something that is in the red spectrum. And put that low, plug them into the wall so it's like real low to the ground. The red spectrum doesn't do that same stimulating effect, and it should give you just enough light to get to the bathroom or wherever you need to go in the middle of the night. Just something to think about. Again, my recommendation, and most people who are sleep specialists are going to tell you, get the room as dark as you possibly can. If you do have to have some light, think about maybe instead of doing the blue light spectrum nightlights, switch to these red light spectrum nightlights. Definitely turn off your computer monitor. Definitely turn off your iPad. Don't run the TV. All right. Okay, so that blue spectrum light that's coming off of your computer, it's coming off of your television, it's coming off of your tablet, it's coming off of your phones. You really want to keep that to a minimum, if at all, in your room while you're sleeping. That blue spectrum light, again, whether you're sleeping or not, even with your eyes closed, you're getting some stimulation, right? Because if I close my eyes and I look up at the light that's above me, I'm still getting that light. I can see it, right? Through my eyelids, I can get some of that. I'm absorbing some of that light. Same thing's happening with your computer, your TV, your tablets. Blue spectrum light is bad. If you absolutely have to have the phone in bed with you or in your nightstand with you, and I get that for safety purposes, I like it next to me, or maybe your job requires that, at least turn it face down so that that light's not coming up off of it, okay? Okay, 2 more quick things, then we're gonna round this one up. If you have any kind of pain issues, right, I want you to, if you can afford to, and not every mattresses are expensive, but if you can afford to, and it's been a long time, upgrade your mattress. If you can't afford to, then please at least upgrade your pillow if it's been a long time. Physical pain is another big thing that people come into therapy and they say, why aren't you sleeping? Because I'm in pain all night long. Well, we can do some things for that without having to go to medication, right? We can do some meditation, and we can at least upgrade our pillow, if not the mattress. And the other thing, and this is the last thing, is research for the average person suggests keeping the room at a cooler temperature. I'm not going to give you a specific degree. It's really going to vary, based on family to family, and I know the fights that go on in families about, like, I like the temperature. Personally, I like the temperature really cool in my house. I like, if it was up to me, I'd have it at 68. Most people would be like, no, it's freezing. I know. For me, it's very comfortable. My wife would probably take it at like 74. So we compromise and we try to hit like between 70 and 72. But try it. If you usually have the room really sweltering warm, try going cool for a little while and see if that helps. A lot of this stuff is trial and error, and all I can do is tell you that the research says for most people, this is what you should do. All right? Again, thank you so much for watching. Please smash that like button so that I can get this out to other people with sleep issues. Please subscribe because I don't want you to miss the next one that comes out. And most importantly, if you have questions or comments about what's causing you to have sleep problems, or if you think you know and you want me to cover that, please comment down below. All right? Until next time, this is a little bit of everything with Sarge.